let's talk about hormones. Your hormones are crucial to every single part of postpartum. This is not just an immediate postpartum thing, although we will talk about what happens in the immediate postpartum, but hormones keep going. Your hormones are really impacted by having children. It's quite easy to end up with a hormone imbalance if things are, maybe you're not eating properly, you're not resting, sleep is a really big part of it. There's a lot that can go on. So during pregnancy, your hormones are in overdrive because they're doing what they need to do to grow a baby and keep you going. Then you have your baby and you birth the placenta, and after the placenta is birthed, you have the single biggest hormone drop in your entire life in the shortest period of time. So estrogen and progesterone plummets, and that's kind of like what happens when you get your period. So in ovulation, you're all like, oh, I'm sexy and I'm out there and I'm fun and I'm great. And then you know what it's like to PMS. My life is a toilet. I'm disgusting. I hate everyone around me. The world is full of pain. And that's basically what the hormone drop can feel like when you are in immediate postpartum. It's why we get things like the baby blues talked about. So that typically can happen around day 3, but that first week to 2 weeks, your hormones are really rebalancing. So what I just want you to remember is to be very kind with yourself. Give yourself grace, understand that this is what's happening. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with you. Of course, if you are having a hard time, that doesn't mean you don't need support. You're fine, just get on with it. I'm not saying that. But what I want to do is really normalize this by giving you this information. Expect things to feel up and down. You're going to be blissfully, oh my gosh, I've had this baby. You might not feel that instant in love feeling at first. A lot of people don't. But you will still probably be like, whoa, that just happened and I birthed and built this baby. But you may also be hit by these hormonal waves, and that is really, really normal. So please just know that. One of the very best things that you can do to support your hormones is to be eating lots of good nutrient-dense food, which we will be talking about, of course, and resting. Oh my God, every video of mine now is just gonna be like, rest, rest, rest. But it's true. Like, I cannot emphasize it enough. You have to rest. Let's talk a little bit about oxytocin, because high oxytocin is responsible for all of the good stuff in postpartum and all of the happy things that go on. So if you've got high oxytocin, which is the hormone associated with blissful feelings, it's the hormone that your body pumps through after you've had an orgasm, your oxytocin will peak after you give birth. Interestingly, in dads, in fathers, it peaks at 5 months postpartum for them. So my personal theory is that that's because that's when fathers and other caregivers, it is other caregivers, not just biological fathers, they can really bond with the baby, because by that point baby's more interactive, baby's less attached to that mother-baby dyad situation where it really needs its mother. And yeah, I think that's why they suddenly love bombed with this emotion, this hormone. Oxytocin is really important because it is responsible for your letdown reflex, which is when your baby is calling for your milk, whether they're crying or they start feeding, your milk will let down, which you may or may not feel. It's responsible for healing of wounds, which is really important if you're, had any kind of wound resulting from birth, but also just for the general physical kind of work that your body has been put under. So the fascia stretching, your pelvic floor stretching, all the muscles stretching, Oxytocin's going to help with that healing process and that recovery process. It lowers blood pressure, it aids your digestion, which gets very funky and slow in postpartum, and it helps you feel good. It helps keep away anxiety, it helps keep away boredom, it helps keep away restlessness, it helps keep that mood stable. So here is your next postpartum mantra. Number one postpartum mantra that we talked about earlier was lie the fuck down. Second postpartum mantra that we're talking about now is protect the oxytocin. That is vital. So we want to keep your oxytocin levels nice and high. Your body is wanting that, so that's what it's naturally going to do. After you give birth, it's giving you that hormone boost to help you ride those crazy, crazy waves. But there are things that can get in the way of it. So stress and fear can interrupt that beautiful oxytocin flow. So that might look like a nurse being a bitch to you on the ward. I'm talking about my own experience. That might look like your mother-in-law saying, that baby's starving. That might look like genuine things actually going wrong, like a postpartum complication, something going on medically with the baby. You know, this happens. So if you are feeling like these things are going on, you need to be extra especially careful to boost your oxytocin. So first up, we want to protect the oxytocin. So not letting the mother-in-law in your space, requesting another nurse, but when things happen outside of your control that you couldn't predict, really thinking, okay, what do I need to do to get my oxytocin back on track? Things that you also might not even think about are thinking too much. I know that sounds ridiculous, and I don't mean that to be in any way patronizing, like, oh, a little woman, you can't think too much. No, that's not what it's about. But when you are overthinking or you're turning that thinking brain on, your oxytocin levels are lowered. What we want is like that sort of fuzzy, blissful, oh, I don't even know like how long they fed for, or when did they last do a poop? I don't know. So those tracking apps are actually really bad for your oxytocin. I know it is tempting to get the data and get answers and go into that masculine mode, but that's like the doing mode. But that is actually counterproductive because it is taking you out of that oxytocin blissful fuzziness and reducing it further. So if medically indicated, absolutely ask your partner or support person to track those things for you, but please just don't do the apps yourself because you will stress yourself out. You know, it's just not worth it. I know because I did it. It causes more stress, honestly. So other things that you can do to protect your oxytocin, and I'm looking at my list because I don't want to forget anything. Massage is really crucial to boosting your oxytocin levels. So if you can swing it, and I would suggest if you're in pregnancy, saving for some massage now, so that in those first few weeks, you can have like a mobile massage person could come to your house. That would be awesome. That's what I had. If no one's available in your area, maybe you can go and see someone, and you can, you know, your partner, your mother, your friend, a support person, your doula can have the baby in a carrier while you have an hour-long massage. Even if you don't have the funds for that, having your partner give you a head scratch, a foot rub, you can do self-massage yourself. So according to Ayurvedic massage, we do long strokes on the limbs, round on the joints. Very easy, always towards the heart, using some nice oil. Olive oil if you've got nothing else, black sesame oil if you're being Ayurvedic, any other body oil you like. Don't do the mineral oils, they're gross. Skin to skin is the other major one for oxytocin. So you'll hear it in hospital, and you'll hear it many, many times in, you know, most basic of birth preparation courses. Skin to Skin is so good for the baby, and it's really good for you too. It's really good for your brain. Your brain is fed and your hormones are nourished by having skin to skin time with the baby. There is, like, on every level, it's great. It's great for breastfeeding. It's great for hormones. It's great for your brain. It's great for oxytocin. Just do it. Make it a ritual as often as you want. And, you know, not only you can do skin to skin, I mean, you should do it for yourself because it's really good for you. But if you're looking at it from the baby's perspective, the baby will get a lot from doing skin to skin with, you know, a partner, with a grandparent, with a child. My second child had lots of skin to skin with his big sister who was 4. She loved doing skin to skin, supervised with cushions around her. So, you know, but she and he both really loved it and they have a beautiful bond. The other things that can really help is food. So we'll talk a bit more about the role of food down the track, but food has been shown to boost your oxytocin levels, which is really interesting, but it's a specific type of food. So it's food that is warm. They've shown that, like, by just holding a hot drink, it can boost your oxytocin levels. Crazy. And keeping warm. So having socks on at all times. The Chinese have a saying, warm feet, warm womb. The feet are really connected to the womb in Chinese medicine. You always want to be keeping your feet and your ankles warm. So not just those like slip-on, you know, slip-on slippers. Yes, with socks, because we want to keep around the ankle warm. That's really good for your hormones, really good for your recovery. Getting a stretch of sleep. So this is really important. You're probably going, newborns don't sleep. And if you watch the sleep video, it's true, but here's what you should be doing. Getting as much sleep as you can. So you getting a stretch of 4 hours sleep actually boosts your oxytocin. That might feel kind of impossible and you might only be able to get like an hour's nap in during the day. That's fine. What a lot of babies do is they will have their big chunk of sleep between, you know, 7 or 8 in the night to, you know, midnight, 1 in the morning. So what I really would like you to be doing at least a few times a week, doesn't have to be every night, but I really would like you to try doing a reverse sleep in. So the reverse sleep in is understanding that you're not going to be getting the typical sleep in maybe where you can sleep till 9 or 10 in the morning, but you can absolutely go to bed at 7 o'clock. When the baby goes down, you go down. So baby seems to be, you know, they usually sort of cluster feed and they're dozing and then they're usually down for the night. And then, I mean, down for the night until the next wake up, you go straight to bed. Go straight to bed and hopefully you can nail that 4 hours of sleep. It might not happen, that's okay too, but we can at least aim for that. On the flip side, with the sleep in at the other end, you might be awake at 6 with the baby, earlier, 7, whatever. That's cool too, but maybe have a think about, consider that as a wake up rather than starting the day. So it might be worth just trialing, okay, we are going to have a bit of a feed. Maybe you know, get up and have a cup of tea or something, but you're coming back to bed and you're going back to sleep and maybe you can get a couple more hours sleep there. So sleep wherever you can is the key. And I know that saying, you know, sleep when the baby sleeps gets a lot of flack because then everyone's like, well, when can you know, cook and do laundry? You should not be doing that shit. Like, let me make it really clear. We're going to be talking about support and boundaries and expectations down the track. But for the first 6 weeks, you should not be doing that because you're going to have built the support network around you to do it for you. And you're also going to lower your expectations. We are not having an Instagram worthy, perfectly clean house. That's not going to be conducive to postpartum healing. The other things that are really a good thing to consider about oxytocin is having a bit of fun. Now, I don't mean like going out with your mates or going on a roller coaster. I'm talking about reading a funny book, watching your favorite 90s sitcom, talking to a funny friend who makes you laugh. Just those things that like give you a smile. That's really important to think about during the day. And accepting that you're going to mess up and that there's going to be mistakes and there's going to be hard things, and not beating yourself up about it, and trying to understand that this is all part of the process. You are meant to feel all at sea. That's perfectly appropriate. You are meant to feel like it's very much trial and error and there's a lot of errors going on. That's okay. So if we bear all that in mind, hopefully we'll keep your oxytocin levels high, and yeah, that's what's going on with your hormones.